1 year ago, I filmed a full tour of my indoor jungle. Since then, the biggest plant in this room is gone. There's one I've been battling spider mites on for months, and I actually have fewer plants in here than I did last year. But strangely, this space feels better than it ever has. If you're new here, I'm James of Pistils and Pollen, and I believe plant care should feel grounding, not overwhelming. Last year's tour showed you a moment of expansion. This year feels more intentional. Not because I love plants any less, but because I had to decide what kind of plant life actually fits this season of my life. Some plants kept growing, some needed to move, some taught me patience, and some forced me to simplify. So today, I want to show you what really happened over the last year. What survived, what thrived, what surprised me, and what changed. Let's start where most mornings begin for me, right here in my dining room. So if you remember from last year in my dining room, my Philodendron melinonii, I believe, was here. This massive plant that was sitting under a grow light, consuming this beautiful space near my south-facing window, which isn't putting out a lot of sun today because it is a rainy day here in Chicago. It's no longer here because I now have a little antique vintage secretary bookcase that I found. I fell in love with it, I'm not gonna lie. And it's not very often that I replace plants with furniture or antiques, but every once in a while it does sort of happen. I was out antiquing here in the city and I just ran into a deal that was too good to pass up. I love vintage items, as you might remember from my tour last year, and I actually need a little bit more storage space in my kitchen, and I just love that it has the key. It's where I actually store my gin collection. So I'm a big fan of local and regional gins, and I've got all my other little bar supplies in here, so I don't actually use it as a writing desk. I have enough of those already in my home. I love to camp out all over my apartment, my condo, and write and read in various locations. But this isn't for reading and writing. It was designed to do that, but instead I'm using it as a liquor cabinet. Why not? The other thing I should say is I said I start my day in this space. This table is where I sit in the morning and I embark upon a little bit of reflection. I like to start my day with mindfulness. So I like to sit down with a cup of tea. I like to make a nice hot pot of green tea. And I like to take my vitamins. I like to sit down, read a book, read a poem, read something thoughtful and reflective. And then I like to pull out my journal and I sit down and I write and I plan out what I want to accomplish for the day, how I want to be and live in the world, what my goal is for how I interact with people around me, how can I be a source of light and love and joy to others around me. Being able to sit here and look at my indoor jungle with these plants that I love and that bring me so much joy is just a really fulfilling and satisfying way to start the day for me. And one of the other changes, there was another plant that I had here that I have since moved out and replaced with this beautiful, gorgeous, majestic palm. And I put it here because it's a lower light tolerant plant. And I just like the way when these blinds are down, there's sort of these bamboo shades that I have come down at night. I love the way that the green next to that dark brown shade is sort of a nice color contrast. I love the way that this tropical vibe reflects down onto the shadows on the floor from the grow light above it. So I do get some nice western afternoon light on this plant in the afternoon, but it also benefits from a very strong grow light above it. Also, if you want to know what grow lights I use here in my home, I have a whole blog post and you can find my top 3 favorite grow light bulbs that I have been using for years inside my home, including the one that is above me here. It's all on the home tab inside the Pistils and Pollen mobile app. So if you're looking for a grow light, check it out. All right, onward. Okay, so I wanna come back around and talk to you a little bit about this vignette too, because it's changed a little bit. You might remember from last year's tour that I had a different plant here. I had a Sansevieria, which I have moved up to my greenhouse, and instead I have this gorgeous peace lily here, and I just love how it adds a nice, really dark burst of green next to this really bright lime-colored green of my bird's nest fern. So the peace lily and the bird's nest fern are both lower light tolerant plants. These plants are significantly removed from the window. So the natural light up along the window there, it just doesn't really filter in here very well, either during the summer or in the winter. It does filter in more in the winter because the sun is lower on the horizon. The time period where that sun is in this middle part of the room is very short. Days are very short in Chicago during the winter and the spring and in the fall. So I've supplemented again with a grow light bulb, which is just enough to keep this gorgeous, very large bird's nest fern more or less happy, and this peace lily as well. Now, I will say this, I'm trying to be a little bit more honest with some of the negative changes or the growth points or the evolutionary points in the course of this past year in this video. I do have to say that this bird's nest fern is not looking as beautiful as I think it did last year. There are two reasons for that. One, around the holidays, I was very busy, and so I neglected it again. I think I did last year, and we ended up with a bunch of brown tips. I do have some gorgeous new growth on this plant, and you can see I'm identifying a pattern here. I get really busy around the holidays, life happens, I neglect my plants, and then I have to spend the next few months trying to help them recover. I should show you this plant in the autumn when it is really looking gorgeous. But you know, most of these plants are actually at their worst. They've been through the winter with me, we've been battling pests together, and this one we've been battling drought. And I was actually so frustrated with it that I was sort of panicking this morning as I was getting ready for this tour, and I thought, you know, I'm just gonna do a little trimming. And never, when you're not in the right mind space, is probably not the best time to put a pair of scissors in your hand and start cutting your plants, because I was very aggressive at removing growth on this plant. So it's unfortunately not as bushy and large and robust as I think it should be, but you know, we'll get there. So this is another area of my home that has changed. I've had some large plants here. I've moved my fern up a little bit into the corner. I've given it a new plant stand. We consider this space a little bit in flux. I've got 3 plants, a nice little vignette. It's all supplemented by a bright grow light above it. It does get some light from this south-facing window behind me, so I am able to have some brighter plants here. Notably this Philodendron goldii, which if you may have seen some of my other videos, you'll know that I have been battling scale on this plant. I do think I got it under control. However, you can see that this plant is significantly reduced from what it once was, or I think what it may have looked like last year. So, you know, did we get rid of the scale? Yes. Did this plant survive? Yes, but it is survived in a slightly diminished form. However, I'm hopeful that now that we've got the scale under control, this plant will soon be sending out new growth. I think that's what this little guy is right here. It doesn't quite have a new frond in there just yet, but I think there will be soon. So I'm still not giving up on this gorgeous goldii. Now, I will say, you may have noticed I've got some things, little mementos here that are very meaningful to me. You may have heard on Instagram that my little dog Dolce, my little gorgeous, wonderful Italian Greyhound of 13 years, almost 14 years, that I raised from a puppy, passed away this winter. It was one of the most difficult things I've ever had to go through in my life. I'm grateful that that is the worst that I've had to go through, but also it was very difficult for me. And so I've just, as a way to sort of heal and to create a space where I can remember him with intention when I'm missing him, which happens quite frequently, but less and less as time goes on. I assembled some of his toys and his pajamas and his leash, and one of my favorite photos of him. And I miss you, buddy. So we'll leave this here for, I guess, as long as I need it. This plant sort of corner area probably looks pretty similar. Not much has changed. This gorgeous mother-in-law's tongue snake plant, Sansevieria, is sending out new growth, and I'm so glad to be able to show this to you because this bright white, creamy green is what new growth looks like on this plant. And you could see that it's significantly different from the growth that's been, already hardened off and matured. So when these leaves are brand new, they have this really creamy color. And then as they start to harden off, they start to show this little dark green patchwork coming through. And then eventually they become this really deep, dark forest green. And so you can see that this Sansevieria, this snake plant, is just thriving in this space. It's very happy with the sunny south-facing light that it gets, a little bit of east in the morning, mostly, and then some south-facing light during the midday. But I do also have a grow light above it just to supplement because these are sun-loving plants. A lot of folks will categorize snake plants as low-light plants, and I think it's safer to say that snake plants are low-light tolerant plants. They'll tolerate low light for an extended period of time. It means they'll just kind of really slowly die on you. If you want your snake plant to be happy, you really have to up the light for them. And that's what I've done with this guy. Between the south-facing light coming from this window and the supplementary grow light above it, you can see this snake plant is thriving. I've also got this African milk plant right next to it. This guy I cannot move. I am dreading the day when it grows another 7 or 8 inches because it's pretty close to reaching my ceiling. I do not want to move it. It's dangerous, it's spiky, and it's heavy. So I'm likely to hurt myself. That's gonna have to be a project, hopefully for a day that I don't have to deal with anytime soon. Okay, this is the one I mentioned earlier regarding spider mites. And I'm not going to pretend this hasn't been frustrating, but here's what it's reminded me. Spider mites aren't a moral failure. They're simply part of life when growing plants indoors, especially when seasons change, especially when you're not hovering over every leaf. I've been rinsing, treating, increasing humidity, staying consistent, all the things I recommend in my guidebook on pests, and it is slowly improving. It's not glamorous, not Instagram perfect, but it's recovering. And honestly, I think that's what long-term plant care actually looks like. It's not avoiding problems, it's learning how to respond to them. There's a few other plants I wanted to talk about down here. Because this is the sunniest part of my home, I do have a few more sun-loving plants. I've got this gorgeous snake plant, this whale fin Sansevieria or snake plant, and you can see, this is I think a good learning moment, you can see that this leaf is showing signs of water stress or drought stress, and so is this one right here. And that's because, quite honestly, I tend to really pull back on watering my snake plants and basically most of my succulents and cacti during the winter months. I just think that it's better to put them through that water stress by withholding and putting them into sort of a drought mode rather than overwatering them when growth is slowed because the temperatures are cooler, the light is not as strong or as intense, and these plants are very much prone to root rot if you are overwatering in dim lighting and in cool weather. So that's why I pull back, that's why this has some signs, but this is an intentional thing for me. I am very much not accidentally neglecting this plant, I am purposefully neglecting this plant, and I think it's good for it in the long run. And then this is my Pachypodium lamerei right here, my Madagascar palm. I've kept this in the greenhouse for most of the winter, but the sun is starting to get intense enough now down here where I feel comfortable bringing it back into my home. You can see it's maintained most of its greenery, most of its leaves over the course of the winter, which is very exciting. Typically this plant loses most of them for me over the course of the winter, but I think because I moved it upstairs to my greenhouse, it's just been able to get more sun and it's been a lot happier up there, even though the nighttime temperatures are far colder up there than they are in my home. Again, because I cut back on the watering, I think it's okay. And so this plant has benefited from, I think, all of the extra sun, and it's very happy. By the way, if you do want to check out my rooftop greenhouse, it's live on my YouTube channel, and it's live inside the watch tab of my Pistils and Pollen mobile app. So make sure you go and check out my greenhouse tour. If you watched last year's tour, you know what used to live here. My Alocasia macrorrhiza. It nearly touched the ceiling, and it gave this whole room that wild, layered jungle feeling I love so much. And for a long time, I couldn't imagine this space without it. But it did what healthy plants are supposed to do. It kept growing, and eventually it outgrew this room. So I had a choice. Keep it here, brushing the ceiling, slightly stressed, or move it upstairs to the rooftop greenhouse where it has just 1 more foot of height and a little more room to grow. That decision honestly felt bigger than it probably should have at the time because I wasn't just moving a plant. I was changing the identity of this room. But once I moved it, I had a chance to see this space with a fresh set of eyes. And this plant that lives here now is my Thaumatophyllum bipinnatifidum. It was starting to feel a little crowded in its older home, which was just a little bit lower down here. It didn't have as much room to grow and shine, but it finally has that room to shine. So I'm loving it in this space. And I can't help but wonder if maybe this is a reminder that sometimes growth isn't about adding more, it's about making space and looking at things a little differently. And that might have been the biggest shift this year with my plant collection in this space. The biggest thing this past year has taught me is this. A home full of plants isn't something you complete. It's something you keep refining over time. There are seasons of expansion, there are seasons of editing, there are moments when something grows so beautifully that it no longer fits the space it started in. And letting it move, letting it change doesn't mean you've lost something. Sometimes it means you've made room for something else to thrive. Your time shifts. If your energy shifts, then of course your plant life needs to shift too. And that isn't failure. It's not something to mourn. I think it's evolution. So if your indoor jungle looks different than it did a year ago, like mine does, if you have fewer plants, bigger plants, struggling plants, surprising plants, you might not be doing anything wrong. You might just be growing into a version of plant parenthood that fits you and your life better in the current moment. If you'd like support as your plant life evolves, whether you're simplifying, expanding, or somewhere in between, you can always join our free Pistils and Pollen community inside the mobile app. And if you want deeper structure, guidance, and hands-on support, you can try the first lessons of Houseplant Essentials free inside the app as well, or check out our Plant Pals VIP community and claim a 20% discount on plants and merch in our online plant shop. Thank you for letting me share this season with you. I'm really glad you're here, and I'll see you next time.